Your father used to do the exact something and would always get in trouble. But you have done it now and cannot go back. I don't know if it is haram. Khair inshallah.
Thanks, Jiddu. Jiddu, I wanted to ask if it's halal to buy lottery tickets. They're so cheap and we could make a lot of money.
I don't know if it is halal or haram, but never think about something like that again.
Okay, I was just asking. Jiddu.
تعبتني. What do you want now?
I just wanted to ask if the sweet has beef gelatin is halal or haram.
You're supposed to check it before buying it, not after. I don't know if this is halal or haram.
Okay.
What now? I am trying to relax. Why do you keep asking me? تعال هنا الخاطر الله. Just go watch Ahkam SOS. Any question you have, they can answer you. You can call them, message them, anything. Ask as much as you like. They can answer any question from any marja, okay?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to Ahkam SOS, the show that discusses Islamic duties and practices. This is a live show. We do take in all of your questions, so if you have any questions you'd like to ask, please send them in via the WhatsApp. Just scan the QR code right there in the corner. If you're watching on Facebook Live or you're watching on YouTube, just put it into the comment section and the technical team will send them to me. If you want to call in, 0203 515 0199, or alternatively just call the WhatsApp number there on the bottom. Before we begin, we'd like to congratulate the Imam of our time and also the Muslim Ummah on the Eid of Mab'ath of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam. I'm sure most of you guys will be going to your centers, will be celebrating, and inshallah to discuss more is Sheikh Ali Ma'ash. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna.
Alaykum assalam wa rahmatullah.
How are you doing this evening, Sheikh?
As'adallah ayyamakum.
As'adallah ayyamakum. MashaAllah. It is the Mab'ath of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam. Please, a few words on this occasion.
أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين. There are two verses in the Holy Quran that speaks about the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and two main missions, let's say, or part of the mission, which are the mains of his da'wah, the mains of his being sent as a messenger to the humanity, to the world. The first ayah is وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ. We sent you for the purpose of being rahmah for the worlds. Worlds, not just dunya, all the worlds. So he was sent as a rahmah, as a mercy to the worlds. So mercy is the first feature, an attribute of a messenger, of a prophet, someone who represents Allah Azza wa Jalla, to have mercy, be lenient with people. And number two, وَإِنَّكَ لَعَلَى خُلِقٍ عَظِيمٍ, and you have great means of morals. So mercy and morals, akhlaq and rahmah, two main bases of a messenger or prophet of Allah Azza wa Jalla. To be sent, so can he attract people towards the right path. Without leniency, without mercy, without akhlaq, people would be basically pushed away from this messenger and the prophet who represents Allah Azza wa Jal on earth. They would not be attracted towards this individual. That's why mercy and akhlaq, rahmah and akhlaq, mercy and morals, play a crucial part for somebody who is offering da'wah, who is offering guidance to people, to attract them. You can't use force to attract people towards the right path. You can't use bad akhlaq, let's say, to be arrogant, to have all these bad features, to attract people towards the right path. Even today's business and marketing world is based on having akhlaq business, let's say, ethics at work. And number two, to be lenient with people. Try to serve the customer, in other words, to attract the customer. So Allah Azza wa Jalla sent His Messenger, sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi, with mercy and morals. And that's why people joined Islam in masses. Even the Jews of the Medina in that time, about 200 of them joined the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi in the belief of Islam. And they became Muslims eventually. And one of them was killed in one of the battles. One of their rabbis was actually killed in one of the battles, either Badr or Uhud. He was killed. And he basically was a Muslim, of course. Of course, name, but a very famous name within the in that time with the Sahaba. So yes, mercy and morals that we also need to replicate and follow the Prophet's Sunnah sallallahu alaihi wasallam with this regard, to have good akhlaq with our family, with our relatives, with our society, and to be merciful to them. Don't expect them to be always angels. Sometimes they do bad things, wrongdoings, la samahallah. You have to be merciful, forgive those who would, la samahallah, in somehow insult or do bad things. So we have to follow, inshallah, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam at all levels, not just akhlaq and mercy, also in aqeedah, in belief, in sunnah, in tradition, in all aspects of life.
Fair. From WhatsApp, Assalamu alaikum. If I'm praying and accidentally start saying the taslim in the second rak'ah, but stop myself, can I continue my salah or is it invalid?
Yes, you have to get up and leave the taslim. Finish your salah and follow the steps of the what is known as the sajdah sahu, because you did salam in the wrong spot.
You've added to the prayer.
Well, the salam is part of the salah, but it was done in the wrong spot.
The wrong spot, yeah.
So you have to basically correct it by offering two sajdat sahu, as mentioned before.
From WhatsApp, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. How tall was Prophet Adam alayhi salam? Other schools in Islam believe that he was 300 meters tall. Is this true? Sheikhna, I think it's in Syria. The Abil's grave, and it's very, very long. It's really, really big. They said the prophets, when they first came on earth, they were as tall as trees. Is this true?
To be honest, I'm not sure about these stories mentioned in the history books. We have to basically research better than what has been said. I mean, in terms of the outcomes, we have to make research and to define exactly, because we have the story about the Amaliqah, the giants who were fighting one of the prophets, maybe Dawood or others. So they went to fight giants people. You know, who are they? What kind of humans they are? I don't know. So this needs a bit of more research, inshallah.
Fair. Still coming from WhatsApp, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. If I go to a seafood restaurant, can my fish be cooked in the same oil as other seafood that we are not allowed to eat? Good question.
The problem is you cannot consume other than the halal fish, which has scales. So any components of other fishes, let's say,
so if there's lobster in there,
lobster oil, let's say, squid's oil, for example, then of course you cannot contaminate and eat basically the fish which is cooked with, let's say, with haram oil. You have to avoid it.
Fair. From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. Can I sell pan with tobacco? Do you know what pan is, Sheikhna?
Not sure.
The answer is yes, you can. Pan is it's a delicacy. It's like a sweet. We normally eat it after Pakistanis and Indians, Bengalis. We eat it a lot. It's a leaf. Inside they put like spices and stuff, and you chew it after you've eaten. It's to help with digestion. Sometimes we put tobacco in it. Those people who chew tobacco, they put that in it as well.
It's like the qat in Yemen. Qat.
It's similar, but it's not. There's no high or anything like that. It's just a delicacy.
I mean, as long as it's not drugs, then of course that would be allowed.
I don't think there's any issue with that. From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. Is it permissible to make dua for my non-Muslim? Make dua for a non-Muslim that has died?
One of the ulama used to make this dua, but of course for the non-Muslim who is alive, I think in one of the nights of the Qadr in the month of Ramadan, that may Allah guide them towards the right path, which is sensible for those to recite dua for those who, as the Prophet did, Allahumma hadi qawmi, you know, oh Allah, guide them, my people, my tribe. So for the deceased, I mean, he's dead now. So Allah Azza wa Jalla would, of course, with His wisdom, with His mercy, we'll see على كل حال on the day of judgment and Qiyamah, how He will treat them. Of course, as I've said before, many of them are qasir. In other words, they were ignorant about the truth. So Allah will, Azza wa Jal, will test them again on the day of judgment. If they pass the test, Allah will, let's say, send them prophets, imams. I don't know how it's going to work, but He's going to test them on the day of judgment. If they pass, they will go to paradise. If not, of course, somewhere else.
Yeah. From WhatsApp, a very long question, Sheikh. Assalamu alaikum to both you respected brother, Honorable Sheikh, and the team. Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Hope all is well, inshallah. My question is, in Asia, due to cultural issues, we girls who want to practice hijab properly face the issue like society doesn't accept, and such girls are considered to be incapable of doing anything or considered as backwards. While our Imam Hussein alayhi salam said hijab of a woman is considered to be higher than the blood of a shaheed. In such societies, how can we manage as we face issues like when a proposal comes to our house, we are imposed to show or / loosen our hijab and show a little bit of hair just to fit in this fake society and for the sake of acceptance by proposals and guys. I just need help that how I can live in the society and convince my homemates and family, because hijab is wajib. I'm 100% clear. I even practice it in family gatherings, but my family tries to convince me every time to practice my hijab occasionally, so this fake society accepts me.
You see, I think every Muslim today in the world is facing challenges, either when it comes to Islamophobia in the West, hijab, as she mentioned, respected sister, practicing your faith, let's say Husseini rituals in Pakistan, Afghanistan. How many are killed as a result of marching on the day of Ashura in Pakistan, Afghanistan, because of... So even other Muslims in Myanmar, for example, Uyghur in China, who are Sunnis, of course, majority. France, ahsant. So everyone is facing challenges. One should be, number one, have tawakkul on Allah Azza wa Jal, with full tawakkul and submission to Allah Azza wa Jal, that He will, inshallah, basically, if I rely on Him, He will, inshallah, support me in this matter, in this struggle. This is the real struggle, jihadun nafs, as the Prophet said. And number two is to be able to practice, to be able to be resilient and strong, to practice your aqidah with full confidence, without shying, without any scare, with any fear. So this is the second step. The third issue is that we have different hukum with regards to showing part of your hijab when there's a proposal coming, somebody wants to come and marry you. There is a specific rule. If you go back to Al-Sistani's website, you'll find it there, that there is a bit of leniency when it comes to, as she said, loosening the hijab, when it comes to somebody who has a genuine intention for the marriage, to see part of her hair, for example. There is a hukum for it. You can go back and see. But in overall, hijab must be preserved and observed. Otherwise, we don't want to commit sin or lose our faith just because of somebody's mocking us or let's say, laughing at us. We have to be strong, with strong aqidah and faith and iman, inshallah.
So, Sheikh, what do you advise for the sisters who say that my hijab is scaring away proposals for marriage?
I mean, the hadith says that if somebody comes, has iman, faith, and akhlaq, morals, then marry him. If that individual has no iman, what's the point of marrying to somebody who has no iman? If he tells you in future that you have to walk out without hijab, you have to drink, na'udhu billah, alcohol, you have to join me in nightclubs, would you go? The condition is iman, faith, and akhlaq,
Yeah.
morals. Otherwise, ignore him.
Fair.
You have to be basically the one who makes the choice, not them. You have to be the one who makes the choice to say yes or no, not that individual.
Fair. Just a quick reminder to all the viewers that this is a live show. We do taking your questions. So if you have any question you'd like to ask on any topic whatsoever, please send them in. You can send them in via WhatsApp, scan the QR code there. Or if you're watching on Facebook Live or you're watching on YouTube, just put your questions in the comment section and the technical team will send them to me. If you want to call in, 0203 515 0199 or 1070, call the WhatsApp number there on the bottom and we'd love to hear from you. Sheikhna from WhatsApp, Assalamu alaikum. I'm asking in the most respectful way because I'm genuinely curious and I know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the best of planners. If paradise is perfect and we are going to be there forever, will we ever get bored or tired of it?
The Quran is very clear.
We don't get bored or tired of this world.
Recite the Holy Quran,
Yes.
especially in this holy month Ramadan, and ponder and reflect on every single word. There's a verse in the Holy Quran where it says about the Jannah, paradise, that the hereafter is lahil hayawan. Hayawan comes from hayat, from the life. The true life and hayat is the hereafter.
Yes.
Example given to a baby who is in his or in her mother's womb, and she or he is living there for the past 8-9 months,
yes.
and he or she is enjoying. Food is available, everything, it's warmth, everything is there. And then you have the hayat al-dunya in this world.
They come into this world.
So when he comes to this world, he would be, or she would be surprised. Wow, how big is the world?
Yeah.
That I assume that it was a bit bigger than the womb of the mother. So it's some kind of that notion, let's say, compared to the akhirah.
Yeah, inshallah, we get to witness it. From WhatsApp, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. Does ghusl janaba become obligatory immediately when ejaculation takes place? It depends, Sheikhna, isn't it? If it's ejaculation as in a wet dream or something, then yes. If you're intimate with your spouse, it's as soon as there's any penetration, ghusl janaba becomes wajib. True?
Indeed, yes. When that happens, of course, then it becomes wajib for purpose of salah and fasting as well.
From YouTube, can I slap my friend in front of the girls in classroom for joke, even if he doesn't get upset? I don't know what sort of joke that is, but Sheikhna, can I slap my friend?
This is not the way that we were taught by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. We have to follow their footsteps and not the footsteps of others.
True.
We have to import the true teachings and akhlaq of the Quran and Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, and not the akhlaq of the outside this boundary of Quran and Itra. Very important. Don't import the akhlaq and the ethics and the conduct of others into your own life. Try to export the akhlaq of Quran and Ahlul Bayt and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
MashaAllah. Sheikh from WhatsApp. Can I follow a prayer leader if I do not know that he is adil?
Ulama say today that you have to make sure that you achieve and establish the adala of this imam before you pray behind him. And this is simple, by asking those who are behind him, or if you know the imam himself or somebody, friends, relatives know him, then they can basically inform you about that. He's adil, we know him for a couple of years, he has no major sins and so forth.
Fine. From WhatsApp, is it permissible using of gold and silver cufflinks, pins and tie pins? So Sheikhna, we have here in the West, when you buy a nice suit, you'll need like cufflinks to go on your shirt. Sometimes they have pins or brooches to go in their pockets, and also a tie pin. So when they have a tie piece, they'll have like a tie holder or something to hold the tie together and so forth. If these are made of gold and silver, are we allowed to wear them?
It is forbidden for men to wear gold, so they have to avoid it. Silver is fine, but the gold is an issue. For men to wear gold is not permissible at all. And there's ishkal with the salah as well, if they wear and pray.
From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna.
As-salam.
Can I work in a company that I know they scam people? So a company that is maybe dishonest in their sales, or a company that's giving, a product which is double, triple, they're selling it for double, triple the value to the customer and so forth. Am I allowed to work for such a company?
The Quran says, and do not incline towards those who oppress so that the fire would touch you. فَتَمَسَّكُمُ النَّارِ. So one should avoid any type of work that would oppress others to participate. Ithm. Another ayah talks about the ithm, that do not participate in ithm, in spreading sins and wrongdoings. So one should see his position in that company. على كل حال.
From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. Is wearing women's clothes for acting in the movies haram? Very good question. Sheikhna, as you are aware, there's always acting going on, and there's different characteristics and characters to be played. I'm not sure if you know, Sheikhna, in the West here, Christmas time, we have a thing called pantomime. Famous celebrities go and they perform children's plays and so forth. Sometimes the male actors have to portray females. For example, Cinderella and her ugly sisters. Normally the ugly sisters are men dressed up as women and they play this role. Is this acceptable Islamically?
I mean, we have in the religious rituals, especially when it comes to Muharram and Safar, we have, plays, they act actually. Men would wear, let's say, abaya and chador, act as Zainab alayhi salam, or
vice versa.
Banin, and vice versa.
The sisters will dress up as men. And so forth.
Limited is fine for this part of.
From YouTube, can we look at someone's garden if the wall is not really high?
It's been, we've been told that to avoid looking at the neighbor's house. There's some discouragements with this regard. Sometimes you might see, one of the ladies of that house without hijab.
and stuff.
So one should avoid it. We don't want to fall into the acts of haram.
From WhatsApp, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. What is the stand on giving a non-Muslim the Quran for him or her to learn about the Quran and our faith if it is Arabic text?
I mean, it depends. Some ulama would say for the purpose of guidance, and you can be assured that they wouldn't breach the sanctity of the Quran, for example. So it depends on the alam you follow.
Fair. Got some questions here from last week, Sheikhna. And this one was from YouTube. What is the exact meaning of ghanima? In Bangladeshi, it is said that ghanima means the remains of war payable only to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Since he's deceased now and there isn't any war, we don't have to.
Yes, initially, ghanima, as the Quran mentions, ma ghanimtum, it's the spoils of the war. So after the defeat of the enemies, they would find out, for example, there are spears, swords, shields, sometimes gold, jewelry left over on the battlefield ground. So they would go and pick it up as a ghanima, give it to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he would accordingly distribute it to the soldiers and leaders and commanders. But afterwards, it became also part of the because ghanimtum is a general term. Whatever you gain as a profit, as a means of wealth, then you have to pay khumus on it. So it's not just the spoils of war. It's also, and according to Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, who are the second weight, Kitab Allah wa Itrat Ahlul Bayti, they would also mention that khumus is part of the hukum rulings in which it's wajib to pay 1/5 of your unspent surplus money gained over the whole year. You have to pay 20% of that to the poor, to the ala kull hal, it's mentioned those who should be paid to. And then you have zakat, the wajib zakat. If you have land, farms, crops, cattle, again there's a zakat on it. So these are hukum shar'i in the Quran and in the Sunnah and in the narrations. So you can't just basically specify the khumus or the ghanimtum is only for the spoils of war. You have to read through the narrations, those who represent Rasulullah, like Ahlul Bayt, Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam, Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam, to see what they said about the khumus. That you have to pay it, otherwise that would be some kind of shortage in your rulings, ahkam rulings. It's like somebody who doesn't fast, but he prays. He goes to Hajj. He doesn't fast. So there's some kind of shortage in terms of the practicing the rulings.
Fair. Another one from last week from YouTube. Can you give me the reference hadith of the fact that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to pray keeping both of his hands by his sides, preferably from both Shia and Sunni references?
I mean, I can bring you, a hadith to this regard, history and so forth. But the issue is, where did this hand folding came from?
Yes.
So I want him for him to bring the hadith as well, that Rasulullah used to pray in this way, pray hand folded, for example, on his chest, on his stomach. And also that the Prophet used to pray on the rugs and carpets in his mosque or in his house. He needs to bring me evidence, and I can bring as well, that the Prophet ﷺ prayed with his hand on his sides, on his thighs. But he needs to eventually bring the evidence as well, so we can basically discuss the issue in more detail.
I mean, even from the madhabs of the Sunnis, the Malikis, the Hanbalis, the Shafis, the Hanafis. The Malikis, or the scholar Malik, he is you could say one of the most senior, and also he was around at the time of the Sahaba and the Tabi'un and Tabi'un. And he says he saw the Sahaba and the Tabi'un and the Tabi'un pray with their hands by their sides. And in his school, all the Sunnis pray with their hands by their sides. They don't fold their hands. So there is evidence to say that, look, it was prayed like this beforehand. Where did the introduction of folding the arms, where did that come from? And most likely it's the second Khalif that introduced that. From YouTube, can I let my Mutta wife walk with non-appropriate clothes? She is Christian. Sheikhna, if I am married to a Christian lady, whether it's permanent or it's temporary, am I supposed to still enforce Islamic law, such as, she should be dressing modestly and this and that? Or no, she has a different faith, she should be practicing her own faith?
It seems to be one of the wisdoms or hikmah in which Muslims were allowed to marry Ahlul Kitab, is a pathway, is a method to attract them towards the Islam.
Yeah.
That's what the Prophet he got married to one of the Jewish women after she converted to Islam as a result. I forgot her name, from a famous Jewish tribe. I think after Khaybar or something, one of the battles with the Jewish in Medina. She became Muslim as a result. So you can see that this is a way in which one can attract them. So yes, try to guide her, advise her. That would be great, of course. And if she converts, then of course, nur ala nur, as they say.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Sheikhna. We're going to go to a short break. If you have a question you'd like to ask, now is the best time to send in your questions. It can be on any topic whatsoever. Traveling, money, business, marriage, food, exercise, whatever topic you can think of. We don't need to know your name. We don't need to know where you're asking from. Just send in your questions via the WhatsApp. QR code is right there in the corner. If you're watching on Facebook Live or on YouTube, put your questions in the comment section. And inshallah, we'll be able to discuss and answer your question after this short break.
I have a question regarding keeping pictures of
Is it
scholars at
permissible to
home.
plant trees by or
What
over
does Islam
the graves?
establish based on peace
Is
and
it
non-violence?
permissible to collect donations for charity projects from
Is it permitted
individuals?
to consume canned food imported from non-Muslim
Is there
countries?
an issue for men looking at non-Muslim women?
To have your questions answered live, WhatsApp us on +44 7415 092155.
For those interested in an Islamic law book by Ayatollah Sayyid Sadiq Al-Shirazi, please WhatsApp the Ahkam SOS team at the following number to place your order today: +44 7415 092155. The Islamic law book, available exclusively in hard copy, contains religious questions answered by Grand Ayatollah Sayyid Sadiq Al-Shirazi. Order your hard copy today.
Yes, that is an Islamic law book there. A really, really detailed explanation of Islamic law that applies to Westerners here in the world today. It discusses economics. It discusses introducing Islam to the West. It discusses marriage rights, the rights of ladies. It discusses even the Muharram rituals and so forth. It's very, very detailed. You know, majority of your questions and the hukams that you are looking for can be found in that Islamic law book. I really, really recommend it. So if you'd like one copy, please follow the instructions on the advert, and inshallah you guys can have a copy of that. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna.
Assalam.
Sheikhna, do you have any hadith that we can discuss in regards to, because it is the Mab'ath and so forth, and you know there's everyone is commemorating and celebrating so forth. So before we answer these questions, please a bit more on the Mab'ath.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Yes, indeed, it is a great event and occasion that the Holy Prophet ﷺ was sent as a messenger to the world and rahmah to the world. In a hadith by the authority of Abi Ja'far al-Baqir alayhi salam, he said, قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. So he narrates from his grandfather Rasulullah صلى الله عليه that he said, أحب الأعمال إلى الله ثلاثة. 3 acts in which Allah would love them. The most loved or beloved deeds and acts by Allah Azza wa Jal. If somebody does it, these are the 3 main deeds. Number 1, إشباع جوعة المسلم, is to feed a hungry Muslim. How many we have people, especially now in Gaza, in Afghanistan, Syria,
yes,
other parts of the world, who need food, need a few morsels of food, you know, loaves of bread. So one of the beloved acts and deeds by Allah Azza wa Jal to be practiced by a Muslim is to feed the one who is in need of few morsels of food. إشباع جوعة المسلم وقضاء دينه, and to pay his debts. Sometimes he can't pay his debts and he's poor. Now he, especially those who, as I've said in Gaza, lost their land, lost their houses, flats, all gone now, to somebody to pay their debts, to be able to, let's say, rebuild, or for example, or in Afghanistan, Iraq, anywhere, who are in need of money to basically pay their debts in somehow, to rebuild their houses, and so forth. وتنفيس كربته, and to relieve his anguish and anxiety. Again, difficulties, let's say family disputes, you try to solve the problem. Again, one of the good acts in which Allah loves it. Another hadith, again by Abi Abdullah alayhi salam al-Sadiq, he said, al-munjiyat, there are 3 acts which would save the one in the day of judgment and the hereafter. أطعام الطعام, to feed people in overall, poor or rich. وإفشاء السلام, to spread the salam, or to spread the peace in the world. والصلاة بالليل والناس نيام, and to pray at night when people are asleep. In other words, to pray Salat al-Layl, namaz al-Isha. These are munjiyat, would save you from the anxiety and difficulty of the hereafter and qiyamah.
MashaAllah. From WhatsApp, Sheikh, Assalamu alaikum. Are shrimps an exception to haram fish?
The one is allowed to eat fish which has scales, so cod, salmon,
haddock,
sea bass, sea bream,
pollock,
and the exception is to do with the prawns, ahsant. Other than that, it's forbidden. We cannot consume like lobster and
crab,
squid and so forth. Yeah,
squid, eel. There's a lot. From WhatsApp, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna, Ya Mehdi Madad, Qibla, I am your die-hard fan and I love to learn Arabic. Please tell an easy way to learn Arabic language. I'm impressed by your way of talking. Okay, easy way to learn the Arabic language. Sheikhna, we were always, in the Hawza, they taught us Sarf and Nahu before we learn any Arabic on how to speak and so forth. I find it a lot easier to learn through conversation and asking people, how do you say this, how do you say that, and practicing that way. But the Arabic text and the way the books are written is not the way it's spoken. So reading Arabic is very different to speaking Arabic. So Sheikhna, for those who want to learn the Arabic language, what do you suggest?
Well, there are a couple of options available now. If you're young, one of the ways is to go to Hawza or Arabic school in the Middle East, in Arab country specifically, and to learn Arabic. That's one option. And to speak to people Of course, also learn Arabic literature as well, important. The nahu, the sarf, the qawaid, all these basic rulings of the Arabic grammar to be, firmly to be established in your mind, so that you won't make any mistakes in harakat and so forth. Second option is to do self-learning if you can. If you're, let's say, the age, let's say over 30, 40, then try your best. There are YouTube sites and channels that would teach you Arabic, books in which teach you Arabic. Or I've seen this many locations. I went when I went to Hajj, for example, that you would see lots of brothers from Pakistan, from India, Muslims, who work in the shops and they speak Arabic. And of course, that's not enough, because just speaking wouldn't be enough. Yes, you have to add to it, as I've said, Arabic literature, and learn the Fusha, reading and writing, which is important. You need a proper, basically, institution for that.
Yeah, of course, also some sort, inshallah. From WhatsApp, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna.
Assalam.
Some women let their nails grow longer than necessary for beauty. Sometimes a nail breaks, requiring a cover that must be placed on the broken nail. Knowing that such a cover prevents water from reaching the nail in wudu and ghusl, is it permissible to use it? How should wudu and ghusl be performed with that cover?
Well, that cover, of course, is a obstacle for the wudu and ghusl. They have to remove it before they perform the wudu or ghusl, and they can put it back again. There's no issue with it. But in the time of the ghusl and wudu, you have to make sure that the water reaches the skin or the nail when you perform the wudu. That's very important. Any obstacle, let's say plaster, anything that would prevent, or paint, for example, paint, not the ink. Ink is different. Ink is fine. The paint, which has a mass that would prevent the reach of water to the skin, you have to make sure that you clear all these obstacles, so that water can reach the body, the skin, the nails, and you can perform wudu and ghusl correctly.
Fair. From WhatsApp, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. What is the ruling concerning audible recitation of the Dhuhr prayer on a Friday?
Yes, many of the ulama say that this is mustahab, ihtiyat istihbabi. It's better to recite audible on the Salat al-Dhuhr, first and second rak'ah and Hamd and Surah. So it's better to recite. Istihbab, ihtiyati.
Also, Sheikhna, from WhatsApp, is it permissible to do the taslim prior to the Imam, so the Imam in Jama'ah?
It's better to wait until the Imam.
So even
finishes.
the dhikr, when you're behind an Imam, you should.
You have to. It's better to wait. Yeah.
Fair. More questions coming in. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. In which holy verse in the Quran mentions that Allah would tell someone of the unseen knowledge to those who are capable, such as prophets and the messenger?
The ayah, the beginning, I can't remember, but it says, إِلَّا مَنْ ارْتَضَى مِنْ رَسُولٍ. That Allah would not show the ghaib except to somebody who He is pleased with. Like Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, like Isa alayhi salam. Isn't it ghaib that Allah gave to Isa alayhi salam when He said in the Holy Quran that I create a bird from the mud or clay, كهيئة الطير, but بإذن الله. I would let's say raise the dead from the grave. أحيي الموتى, but بإذن الله. Every act He did بإذن الله. Isn't it some kind of ghaib? How could you to raise a that needs a powerful tool and means to go back to, and that's Allah Azza wa Jal. So Allah would give إلا من ارتضى من رسول. Type this من ارتضى, you'll find in the Quran which verse, which chapter, and you'll see the siyaq, the siyaq al-ayah, as they say, before that the ghaib is only by Allah, but Allah would give it to somebody who He is pleased with.
In regards to the question that we mentioned in regards to ghanima, someone is asking, do we pay khums on the ghanima?
I mean, we don't have now a war which is run by the Prophet or the Ma'soom and so forth. But yes, whatever you ghanima, which means you gain as profit, either to be business, if you have a business, your own business, of course, profits, and you have a day of annual Khums day. It's like annual tax day,
Yes.
as we have in Europe, in the UK. Then you have to, I think it's on 31st of January, isn't it?
Yeah.
Every year. You have to calculate. Something similar. Then you have to calculate how much money is left over you haven't spent. You have 12 months except one day. You know, you have 11 months and 29 days to spend, you know, enjoy, buy whatever you want. But when that day comes, you have to calculate all the remaining unspent, leftover money in bank, in cash, whatever, in assets, to see which is not really, let's say, is not a ma'un, as they say, part of your expenditure. Then, of course, you have to pay 20% or 1/5 or khums of that unspent money, unwanted money, let's say. Yani it's not something you need to spend.
More questions coming in. This one is from YouTube. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna.
As-salam.
In the name of Allah, the most beneficent, the most merciful, I have a question about what should I do as we have a musical show in our school with haram musical instruments and songs. And if one does not attend, they receive an absence for it. Should I rely on Allah's guidance and not attend, or should I go there?
Well, today's fatwa by many of the ulama, they would say that because the same music is now available in supermarkets around the world, even if you go to Dubai, even if you go to some Muslim countries, they have it. Supermarkets, even in the open areas, let's say on the beach, and I'm saying this inside Muslim countries. So what the ulama say that if you can't avoid it, let's say, we have two things now here. We have istima', listening carefully to the melody, to the tunes, to the words, to the lyrics. That's haram. And we have sima', is to listen in the background. So let's say you go to a restaurant, anywhere in the world, even to a Muslim country, majority country that practice Islam in somehow, as they say. You would go to the restaurant, they're playing music. Now, what are you going to do now? The ulama say that you have to make sure that you do not listen to the words or the music. You make yourself busy with talking with your friends, I don't know, eating. You know, it's like the way we do today in Europe, in the UK. We just get busy with, you know, getting products from the shelf, talking to let's say to others. So make yourself busy and not listen to the music. That's one of the options available. But of course, if you can avoid it, that would be, of course, great and credit.
Fantastic. From YouTube, what does it mean if an ordinary person sees dreams of stuff happening in future that ends up happening, but yet they can't do anything about it? What would that mean?
I mean, best thing, one should pay sadaqah if they can daily, to sacrifice every month. If not sheep, you know, let's say a chicken, for example. Exactly.
Lamb.
So try to pay sadaqah, read ad'iyah before sleeping. There are lots of ad'iyah. There's a dua to repel the bad dreams, to repel, you know, other creations, as you know. So try to read ad'iyah and as well pay sadaqah, inshallah.
From WhatsApp, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. Is the third testimony part of the adhan and aqama? Third testimony meaning, they call it the shahada thalatha, ashhadu anna aliyan waliyullah. Is this part of the adhan and the iqama?
Many ulama would mention that it's mustahab part of the adhan, and because now the slogan or the sign, the sign of the tashayyu', then of course it's important to bring it in every adhan and don't neglect it. Because if you say, well, it's mustahab, I'm not going to do it. And that's why we do qunut, because it became part of the Shia salah.
So the way
if you don't do it, it's like you're replicating other madahib. That's why we stick with the qunut, although it's mustahab. So likewise, the shahada thalith is very important to show your wilayah to Ali alayhi salam, to prove it to the others and to attract others towards the right path. Wilayat Ali alayhi salam. Otherwise, we're going to be, our adhan would be like them, no difference. Yeah, we're going to have, you know, hayya ala khair al-amal, for example. But if you take away the wilayah, shahada thalith, it's going to be disastrous as in future.
Indeed. I'm sure His Eminence, the Grand Ayatollah Sayyid Sadiq Shirazi, he says it's one of the most integral parts
of
the
adhan,
adhan, so you cannot even let it go. From YouTube, what is the meaning of Injil? Because in Greek it means good message. What do the scholars say Injil means?
I haven't heard anything about it.
The Injil is and the Zabur. Okay, Torah, Injil, Zabur, Injil, Quran. So the Injil is the Bible. I think it's the
Bible.
What was brought down.
It's Bible. Yeah.
Is what was brought down by Hazrat Isa.
the Christians,
Salam. Yes. From YouTube, can you give reference for Hadith? The fact that Rasulullah used to pray keeping both hands by his sides. We've already answered this question. But Sheikhna, quickly, would you like to say it again?
Yes, we need their evidence as well that the Prophet used to pray hand folded on his chest.
Where does it say it was?
Yeah, exactly. That's important. So we can match the hadith and we can talk about it.
Can I read from YouTube? Can I read Bible for general knowledge about Jesus? You can and you can't. I mean, Sheikhna, I can discuss this because I went to a Catholic school and I've got a GCSE in Catholicism. And the Bible isn't the word of God that we think we know. The Bible is more of a hadith collection. So you have the 4 chapters, Matthew, Mark, Luke and John. Now these people went around and asked in regards to, what do you know of Jesus? Can you tell me a story of Jesus and so forth? And they wrote it down and they kept it in a book. This was revealed maybe 100, 200 years after Jesus, Hazrat Isa alayhi salam, disappeared from the earth. So there's not that direct divine link in the words. Rather, it is more like a hadith compilation of people going and asking questions. And what do you know of Hazrat Isa? What have you heard him say? Are there any other passages or anything revealed to him, divinely inspired and so forth? But Sheikhna, if somebody wants to read the Bible just to learn a bit more about Hazrat Isa alayhi salam, can we read the Bible? Are we allowed to look at the Bible and read it? Isn't this sort of Israeliyat? We have that in hadith.
Well, if you are studying comparative faiths, let's say, somehow,
so if it's
university, alim, that's fine, as a part of your research. But if not, then of course ulama would say that it's not permissible for normal person to read and revise deviant books, let's say, atheist books, for example. So any book which goes out of the boundary of the Sharia, of course one should avoid it. Unless, as I've said, a comparative study by alim, by somebody educated individual who has a strong faith in Aqidah, that's fine. Otherwise, you have to avoid it.
Fair. And that's all we have time for. Thank you very much, Sheikhna. And thank you to all the viewers for joining us on this episode of Ahkam SOS. I do apologize if I didn't answer your question. Inshallah, we'll roll them over to Monday's episode. Now, if you have a question you'd like to ask, please send it in via the WhatsApp. The QR code is right there in the corner. You can just scan that and you can add in your question. Next time we're live, if you're watching on Facebook or you're watching on YouTube, put your questions in the comment section and inshallah, myself and the Sheikh will discuss and answer your questions. And also, you can call in live 0203 515 0199. Enjoy the rest of the evening. I'm sure there is a lot to celebrate in regards to the Mabath of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And in this holy month of Rajab, and we're going to go towards Sha'ban inshallah as well, there's so many more celebrations to come. So inshallah, don't eat too much chocolate. And we will see you on Monday's episode, 7 p.m. here on Imam Hussein TV 3. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
For those interested in an Islamic law book by Ayatollah Sayyid Sadiq Al-Shirazi, please WhatsApp the Ahkam SOS team at the following number to place your order today: +44 7415 092155. The Islamic law book available exclusively in hard copy, contains religious questions answered by Grand Ayatollah Sayyid Sadiq Al-Shirazi. Order your hard copy today.
Water is the key to life, yet millions have no access to this basic human necessity. Imam Hussein Charity is building water wells in Pakistan. Help the survival of many who can't have this basic human right, those who are at risk of disease and even worse, death. Imam Hussein Charity has a 6-month guarantee of completion of each water well project. Help transform the lives of the believers who live without water. Donate today.
Assalamu alaikum, this is Hussein from London. You're very blessed to be in the holy land of Karbala. Please pray for us and pray for everyone who wish to go.
Assalamu alaikum, brother. I want to pay my respects to Imam Hussein and Maula Abbas from my parents, and I would like you to recite Salam and Ziyarah for Imam Hussein and Maula Abbas on my behalf.
Assalamu alaikum ibn Hussein wa awlad al-Hussein wa ashab al-Hussein wa ansar al-Hussein. Labbaik ya Hussein, labbaik ya Ghazi.
السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله. السلام عليك يا ابن رسول الله. السلام عليك يا ابن أمير المؤمنين وابن سيد الوصيين. السلام عليك يا ابن فاطمة.
May your heart be at ease, O servant of mine. I am your Mawla Al-Hussein. I am the stranger of Karbala, and you are a stranger in these moments. Whoever visits my resting place, I visit theirs, and if they were put in hellfire, my intercession would spare. Did you not visit me after every salah? Did you not cry for me and wail for me? Did you not call out, Labbayka ya Hussein? Did you not call out, Labbayka ya Hussein? You have a right upon me, O my servant, and here is where you will take it, so do not be scared. O Allah, I beseech you in the name of my mother Fatima and her broken ribs.
Let the light of Ziyarat Ashura bring tranquility to the graves of your deceased. By contributing to the Husseini message, a recitation of Ziyarat Ashura will be in the name of your loved ones who have passed on. Let their names be mentioned by the grave of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam one final time.
الله عز وجل قال 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 الله عز وجل إني ما خلقت سماء مبنية ولا أرضا مدحية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضيئة ولا فلكا يدور ولا